Right. Welcome back to class again. Welcome back to class. This is Global College of Leadership. My name is Leke Akingboye, the Provost of Global College of Leadership, Nigeria. Right, so our lesson today is on the subject of perception in leadership. Perception in leadership, and it's looking very good today. So welcome to class. Welcome to class. +234 703 6865 991. All right, so let's start with definition of perception. I'm going to give you 3 definitions of perception. All right. Number 1, perception is that impression people have about you out of their interactions with you. That's the first definition of perception I want to give you. That is, perception is that impression people have about you out of their interactions with you. That is, people have formed opinions concerning you based on the interactions they have with you. You know, as a leader, you continue to have interactions with people. You are in touch with people. Those who are working with you, you are in touch with them, right? Those who you are engaged with day and night, you are always in touch with people. You're talking to people, you are commanding people, you are receiving advice from people, you are guiding people, you are holding meetings with people. All right. So there is nothing in leadership that is not people based. All right. Now, so when people are interacting with you as a leader at any level of your work, they continue to form impressions on the basis of the interactions that they have with you. And those impressions that they have developed in their minds about you because of their day-to-day work with you, those impressions have formed perception about you in them. Whether those impressions are right or wrong, but that is what they think you are or who they think you are. Right. So that's perception. Okay, let's move on to the second definition of perception. Here I said perception is that opinion that people have formed in themselves about you owing to what they have taken notice of from you. Now, this definition talks about how people form opinions about you on the basis of what they have taken notice. That is the observation they've had about you. Now, in the first instance, it was because they had interactions. They are always talking with you. They have something to do with you. They engage you. You know, in the course of interactions, they have to talk to you. You talk with them. So all of those interactions give them an impression about you. All right. Now they may not judge you rightly in any case, but that is the impression they have about you. That is their own perception. All right. Okay. And whatever they see or how hold as perception concerning you becomes how they relate with you or how they see you. Because perception is who you are to them. Who they think you are is perception. Who they think you are is perception. And so that's one. The number 2 is that some people are not even close to you. They don't have interactions with you, but they just observe you at a distance. And that observation gives them an impression, an opinion about you. Not because they are close with you, not because they have any interaction with you. They just observe you. You just passing by and they just observe you. They are not close to you, they've not even been talking with you, but they just saw you at a distance and they conclude that this is who you are based on maybe the way you are walking, maybe the way you are talking to the next person. You are not talking to them, you're talking to somebody else, and they form opinion. All right, while you were driving, the way you drove past the traffic, they form opinion about you. So people take notice of things about you, and those things they take notice of become the impression that they formed or the opinion they hold concerning you, and that is their perception about you. And you know something, whatever people hold as perception about you is your definition in them. Don't forget it. Whatever they hold as perception about you is your definition in them. That is who you are. Whether you are not that person they think you are or not, that's a different case. but that is who they think you are. And who they think you are is what will determine what they will do to you or how they will relate with you. All right, so let's see the third definition of perception. So here I said perception is that mindset developed in others about you based on what they have heard of you. That is the mindset people develop about you because of what they've heard, right? You know, there are people that have not seen you, they have not even seen you to take notice of anything, the one of observation I mentioned. And then there are those who have not even come close to you to have interactions with you, to just be able to have opinions about you. They only heard stuff concerning you, and the things they heard about you have given them their own perception about you. So if it is first who they have heard about you, they head on to that as who you are. When they now meet you, or when they want to even talk about you to somebody else, they will never say they have not met you, and they'll be talking with a level of assertion, of authority, as though they have met you, and they'll be talking about your person, your character. They could be talking it in the negative or the positive based on what they have heard about you. So you see then that perception is a very serious matter as a leader, and you must learn how to manage your perception and how to create your own perception. All right, let's move on. So let me break down what I discussed just a little while now. I just spoke about three definitions of perception, and let me put them in perspective. I want to put those definitions in proper perspective. Number one, personal interactions. I'm talking about the formation of perception now. The formation of perception. That is, I want to put those definitions in perspective under three formation. That is how perception is formed. Number one is personal interactions. That is, people form perception about you because they have interactions with you. And that is the people you work with as a leader, the people that are in your immediate family members, people that are your immediate staff members, people that are working with you the same corridor of office, all right? Those you have interactions with at home, at work, or even in the neighborhood or in the community. All of those people, they will form their opinions and hold their perception because of the interactions. Maybe the way you argue, they could say this, they could say you are proud because of the way you are arguing. So maybe the way you talk, the way you comport yourself, the way you answer their questions, the way you respond to their issues, they form impressions. Or they say you are a nice person just because of the way you responded to them. So you are a gentle person because of the way you answer their questions. So when people interact with you, they form impressions, they form opinions about you. Okay, and that's one thing you must take notice of as a leader. And never forget that you don't need to throw away the place of perception. As a leader, it will work against you or work for you. You know, there are those who have used perception to have gained advantage, even when they are not good people. Yeah, they are not even good people, but they've been able to know the principle of creating the right perception, and they found their way, especially politicians. They've been able to maneuver their way into power by perception. And people just give them massive vote, massive support, not because he's a good man, but because a perception was created in the public domain concerning such persons. All right, number two, formation of person is personal observation. That is, this has to do with what they notice in you as they watch you, the way you talk, as you walk, as you react to others. These people are not close to you, they just observing you. They just see the way you are doing things. Maybe on social media, you know, some of you, there are people you have never met, but the way the persons talk on the social media, you have already formed your opinions about such persons, such that if you are to make reference to such persons, you're going to be talking in a particular perspective about that person, because in the public domain, you have observed him or her at a distance and you form your opinion. So also, as you are watching me right now, as a coach, as a leader, as a trainer, as a provost of Global College of Leadership, a student of this college, some of you have already formed opinions about me. Some of you have not seen me, many of you have not even seen me, but because of maybe the way I do my teachings, the way I relate or whatever, some of you have formed opinion about me. And so you see that people form opinion about you all the way just because they observe you at a distance. So let's see, the next one is the next formation of perception is public information. That is the various information available in the public domain concerning you. And this is very important because somebody could put up a rumor against you, and the rumor becomes the definition of who you are in the minds of people. Okay, it's perception. And so if you don't know how to manage perception, you could be in trouble. All right. So it's very important. Let's go on. Now, let me show you what perception will determine in your leadership as a leader. I want to show you a few things that perception will determine in your leadership. Okay, that is, if you are a leader, you want to say, I want to show you what will perception determine for you, because you may say, well, it doesn't matter what they say about me, doesn't matter what they think I am, doesn't matter who they think I am. Once I do, I'm doing the right thing, that is fine, blah 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 blah. Oh man, it's not, it's much more than that. Okay, if you are a leader that you want to succeed, you must understand these perceptional matters. Okay, let me show you. Number one, perception will determine how much of influence you will have over others in the workplace. All right, that is, as a leader, perception will determine how much of influence you will have over other people. So if you are working with people, you must understand that you need to exert influence over them, because leadership is influence. All right. And if you will have that level of influence that can move people to action, they can motivate people, then you will need to be properly perceived, because your perception will determine how they will respond to the things you are saying or the things you want them to do. Okay. So perception is very important for you as a leader, because your influence over the people you are leading will be determined by how they perceive you. You might be saying the right thing and they will think that you are lying, because they already hold the perception that you are not a consistent person. They already hold the perception that you are not a trustworthy person. And so when you are trying to move them to a particular course of actions, they are doubting it, because they have a perception that you want to use them and dump them. So you see that influence that you need to have over people, you won't have it because of their perception about you. All right, let's go on. Perception will determine how much trust you will earn from the people you lead. That's another issue that perception will determine for you, how much trust you will earn in people. You know, you are leading people and they must trust you. The level to which people will follow you is dependent on how much trust they have in you. They trust that you are not going to mess up. They trust that you're not going to disappoint them. They trust that you are going to take care of them. They trust that their welfare will be secure with you. That level of trust is so important. They trust that you're not going to misbehave. They trust that you're going to do the right thing that will move them forward, okay, in all areas of their lives. And it is how they perceive you that will determine how much of trust they will release from their heart to you. Okay, so it's important to learn that you must not only must you be trustworthy, you must build perception of trust. That's what I'm saying in essence. Not only must you be trustworthy that you know you are trustworthy, but you must build that perception of trust intentionally in your leadership work. Okay, let's move on. Number three, perception will determine how pure your leadership authority will be. That is, what do I mean by this? That perception will determine how pure your leadership authority will be. Now, what I mean here is this. You know that in leadership, once you have occupied position, you're already in authority. Right? The moment you occupy position, you're already in authority. But you know what? It is not enough to be in authority and occupy position. It's important that your authority must be pure. Now, authority is not pure if it is derived just from your position alone. That is, if it is your position that makes people to want to obey you, fear you, submit to you, that authority is not pure. All right? Because it is more of oppression when your authority is coming only from your office. Your authority must be pure on the basis of the fact that people are looking into your personality, they are looking into your quality of life. The reason why they are obeying you and complying with what you are saying is not just because you are the boss, you are the organ at the top, but because of who you are, because of what you have done, because of your personality, because of the way they have respected you and have regard for you. All right. So even though when you leave that office, you still earn their authority, their trust and their loyalty. This is what has happened to so many politicians. When they are in power, everybody is running around for them and obeying and doing their will, and their words count and their views matter. Then once they leave office, whatever they say, Nobody wants to listen. So that means that the authority and the influence or the impact they have over people is just only from the office, not on their personal life. We also have some leaders who have emerged, okay, who had carried this place of proper perception in the mind of people, that even when they have left office, when they still offer their views still count a lot. I remember Nelson Mandela when he was a South Africa president, he was a man of influence over the South Africa. But when he also left office, his views could still overturn the view of the sitting president. Even though he was no longer in the office, but because he was a man that has earned trust of people and he has been rightly perceived, and then the authority becomes a pure authority. Number four, what perception will determine in your leadership. Perception will determine how you will be related to by the members of the ministry, or by the members of your business, or by the members of your organization. All right. So you understand what I'm talking about. So some of you are pastors. All right. You are in this class. You are pastors, and I need to talk to you about that dimension. So if you are a pastor, you also must understand the place of your ministry. If you are into business, your organization, your company, and so it's important that you understand that perception that will determine how people will perceive you in your leadership. Okay, let's go ahead and look at what determines leadership perception. What determines leadership perception? All right. Number one, leadership and promises. Leadership and promises. Okay. Now, leadership must understand the fact that you are going to be making promises to people, and when those promises are not kept, then it will form perception about you. So it's important to know that your words are the first point that determine your perception. Your words, the things you say you want to do, the things you say you will do, and the things you never did. Okay, so leadership is perception is determined by the promises you make. Okay, as a leader, is very important. Another thing that determines your perception as a leader is your reactions. Your reactions, how you react to people. As a human being, as a leader, you are a human being, and you continue to react to people. You continue to act in certain ways to people. When you are offended, you have to react. When you are happy, you have to react. All right. When things are right, you react. When things are wrong, you react. All of those reactions form impressions, form opinions about you. So that's why you must pay attention to your reactions, either your reactions to what is pleasant and your reaction to what is not pleasant. Okay, so because as people see your reactions, they form opinions about you on the basis of those reactions. All right, don't forget the first one is that the things you say with your mouth, the promises you make, all right, the people are going to determine that as a perception. Another one is that determines your leadership perception is your social behavior. Your social behavior, all right. You know, your behavior. The other day I saw somebody that was, spraying money. Spray money on people in the dancing floor, right? That's a perception. For seeing that person whom I highly regard, and he spray money in that manner, the manner was not a decent one for me, right? So I form opinion about him. Okay, so you see, people form opinion about you because of your social behavior. Okay, and you know that you're a social being. You will definitely have to be engaged in social activities. Okay, so your social behavior in the public will determine how people will think you are. Right? Even though if you don't mean it, even though if you are just faking it, or if you are just trying to, that is not the real you, just act in a certain way, but that is the opinion that people have concerning you, because you are engaged in a social behavior that people will use to determine perception about you. Okay, another one that determines leadership perception is leadership allowance. Leadership allowance. What do I mean by this? I mean the things that a leader allows around him. All right. There are things you may not do as a leader, but when you allow people around you to do it, it becomes an impression for other persons to think that that is who you are. Because what you allow is an indication of what you are, right? Even though if you don't do such things. And so, as a leader, your perception is not only formed by what you do as a person, but by what you allow. I remember in this country, there was a president that that Even though we didn't see him, no report of how he stole money, but the report was how people that work with him stole so much billions of naira. Okay, and so what do you think the impression would be about him? That he is also a thief, he's also corrupt. Okay, even though if we don't have a report of that, of what he stole personally, and even if he never stole, for example, an assumption, but because people that work with him, that were around him, stole so much money, and thereby we conclude, or I conclude, and many others conclude, that he also is corrupt. And so, what you allow as a leader around you will also form impression and make people to perceive you in a certain way. There's another one that was that people around him were doing a lot of things, corruption everywhere, and he was doing nothing about it. He didn't talk. Did not. Nobody was sanctioned for stealing and for misbehaving, and we saw that we all perceived that he was a weak leader and voted him out. Okay, and brought in somebody else that we thought was a strong leader based on perception. Not that we were deceived. All right, it's a perception. The perception was created that, oh, if this person becomes the president, he will fight the corruption because he was this, he was this, he was this. The narrative was very popular as public opinion. We all form perception based on public opinion and based on his past activity when he was in the relevant position of leadership. But at a point, we all got disappointed as Nigerians because we saw that the corruption that we said he will fight was fighting him, and the people stole so much. The other person, we voted him out because we felt that he was a weak leader, because people were misbehaving, stealing money, and he was doing nothing about it. The second one that we felt would be strong, we found out that way he was also a weak leader, because the same thing that happened in the previous administration happened in his own, and he did nothing about it too. All right. So you see that it was perception that brought him in, but it was another perception that pushed him out. Okay. So you understand that people continue to form perception based on what you allow around you. Even though that man never stole money from the government purse, maybe people around him stole so much. So everybody thought that he is the same person, he's the same criminal like them. So it's important to understand that. Let's see another one that determines your perception is leadership actions and inactions. Okay, your doings and your not doings. All right. And then the rumors that are in the public domain, rumors in the public domain, oh, it will form opinion about you, and you must learn how to manage all of these stuffs. Okay. All right, let me go further and talk about specific generic negative leadership perception. I want to show you a few perceptions that are in the negative that people must not have about you as a leader. That if these perceptions are directed towards you, that is, if people perceive you this way, you will not be a productive leader. And number one of them is pride perception. As a leader, one of the things that people will first notice in you is whether you are proud or you are humble. Okay, because authority is in you, and so they will easily think that you are proud, and you may not be proud. Okay, all right. So you must understand that this is a negative perception, pride. So a leader must ensure that he is not perceived to be proud. You know why? Because leadership on its own, because of the authority and the honor and the prestige that comes with your leadership responsibility, the tendency for people to think that you are proud is very high. Okay, because at that, when you become a leader, that you won't have enough time for people as you used to have before you become a leader. And so, and they may think that it's pride that is at work, and it's not pride, it's because there's no more time. Right. So, but you have to manage your perception so that you are not seen to be proud. Okay, let's move on. Another one is high-handedness perception. High-handedness. You must not be perceived to be high-handed. Right? That is another negative perception that a leader must not allow. All right, because once people begin to perceive that you are high-handed, oh, they're going to avoid you and misbehave. All right. The third one is weak perception. And now, because when you are perceived to be weak, you will be exploited and you'll be misled by your followers. So never be perceived to be weak. When they perceive to be weak, they will exploit you and they will mislead you. They will give you information because they know you will not verify the information. They will tell you falsehood because they know you will swallow it and drink it. All right. So when they are perceived to be weak, followers will exploit you. All right. Another one is deceptive perception. You must not be perceived to be deceptive, right? You must not be seen to be lacking in integrity and character. And then financial impropriety perception. A leader must make sure that you are not perceived to be financially corrupt. It's very important because when you are in a position of leadership, another issue that people have is that they feel that so much money that is coming to the system is going through your pocket or your purse, all right, either at a private business or at a public service. Once you are in a place of authority and a place of leadership, people think that the money coming to the system must be going through your bank account, or you are probably sitting over a lot of money, right? So, and that happens because you do not have enough transparency in how you manage the system, finance, or you don't have enough accountability, and thereby they start thinking that so much money is under your watch. If you are a union leader, for example, if you're leading a union where they're contributing money for unionism, and you are not accountable, you are not transparent with those stuff, even though if you are spending the money judiciously, you'll be perceived to be a thief. That might end your tenure. You might not be able to contest the second time to win the election. All right, so you know your own place. Then let me talk to you about how to overturn negative perception. If you have negative perception as a leader, how do you overturn negative perception? Number one is feedback. Feedback is very, very important for you as a leader. Feedback, you must create a feedback mechanism. When you become a leader, sometimes you are cut off from what is going on in the people that you are working with. All right. You're no longer privileged to hear all the small, small stories. All right. And then you only have access to official briefing. And that's very dangerous for you. You only have access to official briefings, and some rumor monglers or rumor monglers who are around you, rumor mongers, who are around you, who just want to take the advantage to just tell you things that they want you to hear. And then official briefings are the things you have access to as information. And so you may not be able to get the proper briefing or proper information of the things that affect you as a leader, or affect the company, or affect the organization, or affect the nation, or affect the state. And so you must create a mechanism to get feedback from people, right? It's very important. You have to determine which mechanism will help you as a leader on your own. Either you ask people to submit a feedback without putting their names on it, and then so that they will have enough privacy to express themselves. Those things are very important for you as a leader. And with that, you'll be able to get to know what is going on that you're not aware of. If you, as a head of department, is honest enough to say, okay, everybody drop your suggestion in that box, but don't put your name. You can even type it, don't use your handwriting, you can even type it and then drop it inside that box. And then I will look at it next week. Tell me so and so about what I'm doing wrong or doing right or whatever. You will be shocked to have a lot of information about you. Okay, so the feedback is very important for you if you want to manage negative perception. All right. Then the other thing is change. Change is very important. If there is negative perception about you as a leader, one of the things that you must do is that you must change. Okay, especially when those negative perceptions are founded ones. They have facts that back them up. Okay, you must change. So, and perception is about the opinion they have about you. If you hold the opinion about you, when you change, that opinion will also change. It may not be instant, but because you have changed, the attitude that is forming that perception in the people, once it changes on your part, they will also see that change. And then over a period of time, it will swallow up or neutralize the negative perception that has been in their minds. This may take time, but it is achievable. Change, right? Another one is narrative control. Narrative control. It's important that you control the narrative in the public domain, especially when the perception is on as a matter of public information. I told you three formation of perception: personal interactions, personal observation, and public information. Now, if the perception about you is as a result of the public information, what people write to the social media or on the Facebook or on the news media concerning you, all right, you must control the narrative, all right? You must have a rejoinder. You must create a different story. You must also put up information about yourself. Now, people they think that you are a stingy person, and they put all those stuff into place. So you have to come up and put stories and information about your social impact in the community. Your organization that you are working with might be perceived not to be doing so much in affecting the host community. And then because people don't know somebody is talking that kind of story, you must come to the public domain with the narrative. Then, but most importantly, it is not advisable that you must be fighting back in perception management. If you try to fight back in perception management, you might be losing the ground because the people that have gone ahead of you, their information will travel faster than your own counter narrative. So, but that's what I talk about narrative control. Narrative control is that you are ahead of the fact, you are ahead of the others. That is, you must be talking ahead, you must be acting ahead, you must be putting information ahead so that you will have gone ahead. They will be the one trying to counter your information. And your information carries more weight in people's mind than their own negative one. It's just like if you go to the Nigerian police station to go and report that somebody did something to you. All right, that person that reported you is already ahead of you in that matter. Before you can be able to change the mindset of the police that, oh, this thing is not right, it's not wrong, it's not this, it's not that, the matter will not enter next level. All right, it will take some time. So you have to control the narrative as an individual, as a manager, as a leader, as a top level manager. Make sure that you are able to put proper information about what you do, what your company is doing, what your ministry, if a pastor, what your church is doing, put it in the public domain there so that people can know that this is who we are, what we are doing, and so that when somebody is putting up a negative information, those ones will just fight it back. And already people have also formed an opinion about you before somebody is coming up to create negative impression. You know, when you have created your own perception before that's come to fight your image, that one you have created will still stand a lot of chance in the minds of people. There's other people in their own right, in their own places, their own right, that if you try to create a negative impression in the mind of people about them, it's not going to work that easily because people already form opinion that he's a good man. And so because a lot of things have been observed about him, and they are already in the narrative control of what they do. And so if you are coming up and say, oh, it's bad, it's this, it will take time for people to have a rethink or try to think along with what you are saying. Majority of people have already, because when the opinion has been formed in people, it takes time to wash it away. All right. Okay, so let me talk about the winning perception. The winning perception. That is, if you want to be on the, if you want to be a proper leader with the right perception, I want to show you the winning perception that you must have as a leader. Please pay attention here because these are essential perception for you as a leader. These are essential perception a leader must have. Number one is approachability. It's an essential perception. It's a winning perception. You must have it. You must be perceived to be approachable as a leader. It's very important. Let people be able to approach you. I mean, let people know that you are approachable. All right. They must not be afraid to talk to you. That's what I'm talking about. Leaders must ensure that people are not afraid to talk to you. You know, when you are a leader and you occupy a high position in leadership, you know, a natural thing is that people are afraid to talk to you because either for fear of your office or honor of your office or for protocol of your office. All right. And but you must be intentional to see that you break down those barriers that people can approach you. All right. Even without compromising the protocol of your office, as the case may be. All right. Make sure you are approachable. That is a perception that people must hold. And they keep saying, the guy is approachable, the woman is approachable. It's a perception that is appropriate for you as a leader. Number two is courteousness. Courteousness. All right. The leader must be perceived to be respectful to his followers. It's a necessary perception. You know, when you become a leader, the tendency for people to think that, oh, it's going to, you know, and normally as a leader, when you're a leader, the way you talk to them will not matter again because it's or guys who are talking. If you talk anyhow, they will still say yes, sir. They will still obey you because you are the one paying their salary, if that is the case. All right. But when you develop the appropriate perception of courteousness, whereby the people have an impression that you are respectful, that They see it and they know it that you are respectful, even though you are the oga, even though you are the leader, even though you are the head, even though you are the one paying their salary, but they still have that courtesy, they still have that self-esteem working with you, right? They still feel important around you. They still feel that they are somebody around you, even though you are the one that is the head here. Okay, so that perception is necessary for you as a leader. It is called the winning perception. That's what I call it. I call it the winning perception. And the number two is courteousness. Have it as a perception. Another perception that you need to win for yourself is trustworthiness. Trustworthiness is a necessary perception for you, right? Now, those you lead should have confidence in what you say or do. That's what I'm talking about. Those you lead should have confidence in what you say or do. That is a necessary perception. You must be seen to be trustworthy, such that when you say it, they can go to sleep. They know that, oh, you can do it. I know one of the governors of Nigeria was referred to as Mr. Talk and Do. People have that perception that if he says it, he will do it, right? That's a perception, and that has earned him a lot of support from his followers. All right, so you must be perceived to be trustworthy. All right, and trustworthiness here means that your followers will be confident in what you say and what you do. All right, it will help you a lot as a leader. All right, let me give you this one. Attentionate, it's another winning perception. Attentionate, what do I mean? It is you win the love of those who work with you when they can always enjoy your attention. You must be seen to be attentionate. You must make sure that you have attention for your people. When you are a leader, people don't want to come close so much. They don't have they feel you won't have their time. It's a conclusion in the minds of followers or workers, those who work with you or your followers. They already think that Oga is busy. Yes, and indeed Oga is busy. They already know that Oga is always here and the Oga has so much people to do, so much work to do and so many people to attend to. That is the truth. But when you make intentional efforts to create attention for people as much as you can, though it may not be always possible, then it is a long way it will go. This attention is not when you give all your time to the people. Just because you are passing by your people who are working with you and you give them a wave of hands, and even when they never it's not necessary, or you just walking through to your own office, stop over in the office of one of your staffs or your staff, just say hi, just here, how are you today? Knock on the table and greet him and go back to your office. It's a lot of goodwill that you will get out of it. Attention, it's a key. And I see a lot of leaders that even when you are looking for their attention and they are looking at you eyeball to eyeball, like they will just bypass you because they don't even want to even give you that attention. People love you, people will have respect for you, people want to follow you when they know that you have their attention, even though when you are busy, but they know that even though you sight them in the midst of crowd, you're going to give them a wave of hand or a eye contact to show that you recognize them. It's a good way of working with people. And then the other one on the winning perception that you must have as a leader is relationalism. Relationalism, what do I mean? I said this is when the leader personally initiates interactions with his followers. All right? When leaders initiate interactions with his followers, this is very, very important. When you are a leader, because of your authority and the office you occupy, gap will be created between you and people that you are leading or working with. There will be a gap because you're no longer mates, you're no longer colleagues. Even though the person who was your colleague before, because you are now the head, you are now the boss. So it's no longer going to be so. There'll be a gap between the two of you. And so that gap exists in the workplace or in governance, or even if you're a pastor in business, in ministry, all right, in your career. So once you are as an entrepreneur, right? So that gap will be there in the people that you are leading. That it's a natural thing, it's a psychological thing. But now, as a leader, relationalism means that you must create intentional relationship. That is, you must initiate personal interactions with the people that you are leading, because they will not be able to just come around and talk with you freely as they will have done to their colleagues or friends. But you must initiate a personal interaction process whereby whereby they just feel that the guy is fine, or guy is good. Okay, I don't know how to say it more than that. I'm sure you understand what I mean. Okay. All right. Another winning passion is firmness. Firmness. This is when the leader is in full control. You must not be seen to be weak. Firmness is a necessary perception for you as a leader. Be seen to be firm. Those who work with you must see that you are firm. It will make them to be up and doing and never to misbehave in the workplace. They will be afraid. Okay, they will be afraid because they know that you are going to insist on compliance. So firmness is very important for you as a leader. I'm sure if you want to know all the stuff that I cannot talk about in this class, get the book. All right, the book, The Strategy for Dealing with Negative Perception and Creating Your Own Perception. That book, it's available. It's called Leadership Perception. Now, what I've done in this class I'm just crashing it on the surface. Get a book. Okay, the book is on leadership perception. There you get the strategy for dealing with negative perception. There I'm going to show. There I've shown to you all the things that I cannot talk about in this class. All right, and a lot of things you need to learn about how to create your own perception as an individual. How to create your own perception, so that you must understand that if you are not creating your perception, perception will create itself for you. Every leader must be intentional about creating perception. All right. If you don't create it, it will create itself. If it creates itself, it will not be good for you unless you are lucky. All right. Thank you for being in class today. We'll meet in the next class.